It's the Solarvan Sci-fi podcast.
Hello, this is episode 173, I think, of the Starwars Sci-fi podcast. I'm Michael Ball, who's actually feeling slightly unwell, but he's dedicated to the podcast. He's joined once again by the demigod of knowledge, information, all sorts of things of consequence in the science fiction world, and things that most people wouldn't even thought about, let alone been told. But Mr. Fowler, my co-host, will always be the person who can tell you these things. And most of the things he tells me about are very, very interesting. One or two things aren't, but I'd say that out of 10, he gives a 99.99 recurring facts and figures for him to share with the world. I'm wittering on because I'm not very well, as you can probably tell. Martin Fowler, by the gods of science fiction. Hello, Martin. How are you?
Well, hello. I hope you get better. I think it's incredible for your dedication today to come on and do this. All you have to say, I'm not well, my friend, and I had
I want to get there. I want to get to episode 200. I want to get the episodes sort of like under our belt and kind of thing. And we were going to review Pacific Rim this week, but originally Martin was going to be available recording on Wednesday, and I was going to watch the film. But I didn't watch the film, and we're recording the day before. So we thought, well, look, what can we review instead? I suggested American Wealthy London, and Martin said no, which is fair enough. I quite like the movie, but I think that he came with a great idea, and that was, let's go with the Star Wars movie. So we thought to ourselves, what's a Star Wars movie we can review? And it's one which is actually still a relatively recent movie, but it's one of the best, I think, and that's Rogue One. So that's what we're going to actually review, which is going to be interesting because we were very underwhelmed by its prequel TV series. So I'm going to be interested to see how you see it now, because I've seen it since Andor, and I still like Rogue One, but yeah. So anything happening your end apart from every day we're hearing on the news of a storm with a stupid name in front of it, which I always think is daft. And
has it started down where you live yet? Because we're expecting it here.
Well, we had one the other day.
Has it started?
No, it's not. It's a bit
windy.
We
did, yeah.
And then I had another one. And what annoys me is, right, they go on more about the fucking name. Oh, hang on, this is our 10th named storm this season. I don't care about the name of the storm. Just tell me where it's going to hit, how windy it's going to be, and whether I'm going to die. Don't say Storm Tegan or whatever it is. Fucking hell. Honestly, like this morning, right, I read it and said, oh, we've got another named Storm today. This is Storm Jeremiah or whatever. I thought to myself, look, this isn't like CBeebies. This isn't with Mr. Tumble. If Mr. Tumble was on CBeebies and he was like, hello, my name's Mr. Tumble. Oh, it's a windy day today. What should we call it? Let's call it Storm Tegan or whatever. Fuck off. I want to know if I'm going to be blown into the sea or blown in front of a car. Don't give it a name. Sorry, that's enough. I know. Do you know what? I keep ranting about this to people about the name storms. I just think it's so immature. Is that because I'm 50 plus now?
Hello, and I'd like to welcome to Stormfront, the new podcast that's starting this week. And my co-host is Weatherman Michael Ball.
Yes,
down near Portsmouth, and I'm Martin Fowler, the Weatherman in London.
And what are we naming our storm today?
What's it called? I can't keep up with it. There was one yesterday, wasn't there?
Yeah,
I can't keep up with it. It just stopped half at transport here. Stopped half at transport.
I think
and it hasn't even arrived.
No, it's just daft. But it's the time of year. I'm also in a bad mood because I've got the most boring course I'm going to go on at work tomorrow. It's an IT data protection shit. It's got nothing in relevance to what I do at all. I did the course before about 6 months ago, and at the end they give you a piece of paper, and about it, it's not what it is. It's a quote certificate, like I'm going to hang it up on my fucking wall. Of course, what I did with my certificate the last time I got it was I chucked it in the bin as soon as I got home. But because I chucked my certificate and they're so inept in where I work, they've lost the record of me doing the course. So because my certificate is no proof that I've done the course, I've now got to do the course again tomorrow. For 2.5 hours, I'm going to be bored shitless in the morning, and I think to myself, God Almighty. And anyway. I'm really ranting. Can you tell I'm not quite right today? Can you tell I'm not my normal self?
This week I'd like to say, hello, I'm Dr. Ranson. This is Mr. Ranson. I'd like to welcome you to the Ranter One Sci-fi Ranter.
The Ranter One,
podcast.
yeah.
And in my far corner is my co-host, Mr. Ranter, and I'm Dr. Ranter. So how are you, my friend?
We're a pair of ranters then, are we?
Yes. I did some interesting digging today.
Go
worth
on.
a look.
Yeah, I'm
really impressed with what I've read.
Go on then, detective.
Planet of the Apes TV series,
which I liked. I like the
There were several. I love it. There were several episodes written
by Rod Serling.
And they never got used. There was a whole new pilot episode, which is fascinating.
Right.
It went a totally different way, but episode 15, which never got made, well, the ending, what a twist. Just to cut it short, I will tell you where the website is.
Yeah.
They start to enter like the Forbidden Zone sort of area.
Oh, I love that in the movie.
And they find this town.
Right.
And there's these apes there, and they think that there's a legend of a human that's going to be possessed by evil. Because in this like abandoned building, there's a radio.
Right.
And I think the humans worship it, from what I could read. And the apes are very, man's evil in this town.
Yeah.
Burke is called Kovacs. They changed the name of the character.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. And it's all about this like radio, all this technology. Anyway, they get it working, and somebody answers them.
But who answers them?
Well, we don't know. It's another human beings.
That's
where it finishes. It's a human on the other side.
But
when they turn it on, they're showing the apes what it is, not to be afraid of it. And a voice comes back through.
Did we actually? You know what? We've never reviewed the TV series.
I think we have, haven't we?
Have we?
Sure.
I'm looking at my. I don't think we did. No, we didn't. We've done the first.
Have we not done it?
No, we've done the first two Planet of the Apes movies.
Okay.
We've never done this. Oh, right. Okay, we've got to do a proper review, and I'll give the whole show a rewatch because it's only like one season.
Yeah, I'll get that website,
and then we can actually use that and discussing it once we've seen the series.
Yeah, you want to read? I'm just reading. I've read the pilot episode, which were planned, and Dr. Zayas is on the side of the humans.
Oh wow!
And it's tied in. Taylor is mentioned, and the other three astronauts, they're all mentioned.
How come we haven't done that? I could have sworn we did that. No, we haven't done that.
I don't know, but when I was reading it, I was picturing it. I couldn't put it down, and I thought, this is fascinating. Yeah. I'm gonna after this, I'm gonna send you that website.
Yeah.
I was reading it for about an hour. I couldn't get off my phone. I was like, bloody hell, like going through scripts, and I thought, this is fascinating.
We weren't focused on it properly now, but did you like the TV series itself, as where it actually came out as being? Were you happy with it?
I adore the TV series.
I don't remember the TV series as much as obviously the movies, but I like the fact that it wasn't quite as far in the future than it was from the Taylor, Charlton Heston era. That was like 3965 or something, and this was like about 1,000 years before that. It was sort of in between, where humans weren't quite so evolved as they were by the original movie's time, but they were also now the apes were still kind of more senior to the humans. It was more of a duality.
One of the raised. Sorry, go on.
No, that's what I was saying.
Dualities, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was saying about it.
One of the reasons it got cancelled, even when it first started, it was a very expensive show to make. It was $250,000 back then. That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And when it first viewed in the ratings, it only got to number 3. That were after pilot episode, and they dropped it very quickly. But apparently, according to some of the why it was cancelled, people thought there weren't enough apes in it.
Really?
Yeah. And so that's it. And Gene Roddenberry wanted to. He could have took it over. Gene Roddenberry, but he wanted to get a new special effects company and make it bigger than what it was. and
okay.
they never pursued it, and it gets really interesting. Absolutely fascinating.
Well, I mean, they only made 14 episodes. 1975, 1974 it was made.
Yeah, they did.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm going to give that a rewatch and we'll review that in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I think. I'd like to do that one.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
interesting. Yeah,
But you
I'm up
need
for
to
that.
go on this.
Yeah. What
You
I'll do
need
is
to go on this
what I'll do.
website and read these scripts.
What I'll do is I'll look at the original series first, then I'll look at the scripts that you're telling me about, and then we can reference the differences. Because at the moment, I know the
well,
series.
I'll send the link after this show.
So what we'll do is we'll do
I
Rogue
don't
One
want to
this
forget
week.
about it.
We'll do Rogue One this week. We'll do Pacific Rim next week, and then the week after, possibly, we'll do the Planet of the Apes TV series, which would be cool.
Once we've done this, we've covered all of Planet of the Apes. Then we've done it. Well,
no, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Have we?
No, we've done all we've done specifically for episodes is the original and Believe the Planet of the Apes, and then it would be the TV.
Oh yeah.
We've never done Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, or never seen, or all the before the.
Oh, of course, yeah,
No.
yeah, because
and
we talk so much.
As well, and the remakes as well.
Because we have big conversations about it. I keep thinking we've covered everything.
We haven't. We talk about it, but
you're
we
right.
don't
You're
focus
right.
on it. So,
You're right.
Yeah. All right. We'll put that in the list for very soon. Before we go into our focus, I've got a couple of bits of news. I think you might have heard this as well.
Okay.
The new Doctor Companion, is it Millie? What's her name? I can't remember her name now.
Oh, she's gone. Yeah.
She's gone.
Why?
So I don't know. I have no idea. Now some people are saying.
I saw an article the other day that said why she left, and I read it, and it didn't tell you why she'd left.
I've got some flashbacks to the beginning of the Christopher Eccleston series where he'd gone before the first episode. I mean, obviously we've only seen. I think it's Ruby Sunday. I think she's called it. I think we've only seen it in one episode. Now it could be that it's like Martha was only in for one season. And then she was gone. It might just be that the character is only really sufficient for one season. But the actress who's taken it over is a character that we've seen in Andor. So she played a lesser character in that show. So I'm sort of familiar from seeing her in that. How do you feel? Are you bothered about it? Indifferent? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I'm not bothered.
No, I'm not
they
bothered
go through companions all the time, so.
Yeah, I mean it's like
now
I said, it's
not
shame.
bothered.
No, but
got
it's
more important things to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about things like global warming and acid rain and. No, I'm only joking. Do you know what? I'm really spouting on.
Stop it,
I'm not well. I'm talking shite tonight. I'm talking more shite than normal. I tell you. So the new actress is called Varada Sethu. I think that's how it's pronounced. And I am familiar from her from, like I said, I'm just going to the website now.
Oh, she's very nice. She's very nice.
Oh yeah. I'm not. I mean,
I saw a picture of her there. I thought she's nice. So I don't know. I'm not bothered. It's companions come and go. I mean, the rate we're getting doctors these days, it's like they're in it for one and then there's another one.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know why, but since this whole bi-generation thing, and it's really funny. I was watching an old episode of Alas Smith and Jones. And if I remember, I'll put it in the intro. I probably will forget. But there's an intro where you see them all. There's this one bit where Smith and Jones, they split off. They're sort of joined together. There's that suction sound, and they split off into two people. And I thought, Jesus Christ, it's a bi-generation on Alas Smith and Jones from the 1980s. And I just thought, it does. They've got that from Smith and Jones from the 1980s. And I don't know. I think there's been a bit too much stuff going on recently.
I watched that trailer you sent me.
Oh, what's that show? What's that film? It looked quite good, didn't it?
I got a very in first minute of it. It felt very much like Gravity and Life.
I tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of a classic episode of The Twilight Zone where there's this astronaut who goes into space on the capsule. He comes back home, and his wife and daughter look at him, and they see him as a bit different than the person that they remember. And also, he's gone down in rank by one rank compared to when he actually went off into space. And obviously, what's happened is that when he's gone up into space, he's hit some splinter or parallel universe and come back into a slightly different reality. And it suggests to me that this show, what's it called? For Christ's sake, I can't find it on here. It reminds me of that. It reminds me of something where potentially it's not the same. Yeah, it's called Constellation, and it's on Apple TV.
Also,
go on.
What's coming to my head now is the film. I think it's The Astronaut's Wife.
Astronaut's Wife.
I don't know if you've seen. I've only seen it once. I caught it years ago. It's her husband comes back from space, but he's not her husband.
Yeah, so I mean,
he's an alien, like in his
so
body.
There are some parallels there,
and it's all psychological. And she nobody believes that it's not her husband. And I remember end of it. There's some scene where she electrocutes the kitchen and destroys him, and he slimes out or something. And I think it's called The Astronaut's Wife. I've not seen it in years. That were quite simple. But this seemed quite. Something's come back with her, and it seems very psychological as well. So it had my interest peaked.
Yeah,
I've got faith in it because Apple.
Yeah, I had to say,
some very good stuff.
I'm quite impressed with Apple. I think a lot of stuff that they seem to be making.
Yeah, I am.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so yeah, we'll give it a go, give it a watch. It should be good.
When does it start?
I think it starts in February this year, next month. So it's not that far away.
Okay.
But that is.
I saw the trailer for The Acolyte.
Is there a trailer for it? I saw a really fuzzy one.
Yeah, I thought you knew.
No, they released a trailer for it.
I saw it over there. I forgot.
Oh,
I saw it on my phone when I went out last night.
Oh, okay. So what? I mean, I've seen it. What
it's only a minute long.
Does it look good?
Well, there were clips of like Star Wars in it, and then there were clips about the Sith being dominant and all this. So it seems quite compact, and Yoda's in it as well.
You're joking.
Yoda's in it. You say
what,
Yoda.
Yoda?
Yeah. I did try. I did think is it a fan base thing, but it's not.
I go into a Star Wars.
It's only
site.
a minute long. It's only about a minute long.
Well, come here. On the Star Wars site, I go to Star Wars Newsnet. It's not mentioned on there. Let me have another look.
But just Google it, Acolyte trailer.
They just keep going on about this bloody Bad Batch all the time. This bloody animated thing, which I'm not bothered about. I don't care about animated Star Wars. I'm not an animated fan. I know I should be, but I just when I see animated stuff, I just don't click with it. Let's have a look. Acolyte trailer. Acolyte trailer. Here we are. First trailer. 1.1 million. 4 weeks old. I don't know. Maybe this is the one.
No, it said it come out a couple of days ago.
Well, this one's 4 weeks ago. I think this is a.
Well, not one I saw. Came up on my phone.
I can't play it now because the sound will probably get. But I'm just looking at it now. Next year.
Well, check it out. We can talk about it next week.
Yeah, it looks good. I don't know. I mean, I'm not looking at it properly, but yeah, I don't know. We'll get something soon. Any other news your end? Anything else much to report?
No, nothing much. My film, The Toilet Traveller. Has,
please. Yeah, I want to hear about. Yeah, tell us all about that. Go on.
Yeah, I'll talk about it in 2 weeks' time after it's been shown, and it's going to get streamed to a festival in New York as well. So I'm quite happy about that. So I will let it after the 3rd of February when we do this again. I'll let you know how it goes with the photographs.
Yeah,
so,
and is there anything you want me to share online?
Best not tempt things.
No, that's fine. It's your call. But if there's anything I could do to share my end and help you out,
yes, I contacted everybody at the weekend. I was just very excited.
Yeah, I know. I got your message. I was really pleased with you, mate. Seriously, I think it's weird. I know because it is great when you get recognition for stuff that you do.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it in 2 weeks' time. Once it's been shown, I've got photographs, then I'll talk about it.
Fantastic.
So it's best leave it till then. Yeah.
No problem. Okay.
So that's it. There haven't been. I watched Reacher on Amazon. I enjoyed that. I watched that on Sunday. That was good. I do recommend Reacher. It's very good.
Yeah, you
amazing series.
Okay.
But that's all I've watched. I have bought A question before we start.
Sure.
Have you ever ordered anything off Amazon and it's turned up the same day?
No. How can it?
I bought. Well, that's what I thought, because I bought 2001 this morning. This box set with all these things in it. It's like a special edition, and my phone keeps telling me it's going to be here today, and I'm like, no. So I just wondered.
Maybe. Well, obviously, it's not the conventional post office that you get that in about 3 months if you did it that way around.
Well, that's what I thought, yeah.
But they are affiliated with their own. Amazon have their own companies, don't they? They're affiliated with other sort of like parcel services, I assume. I don't know.
I'll just get it by 10 o'clock tonight. So, if it turns up, I will be surprised. But I think it'll be here tomorrow. I just wondered if my phone's still saying it.
Yeah, I might.
That's what I mean. So there you go.
Cool.
But nothing. That's it. Nothing to report. Nothing really.
I mean,
I ain't really come into any sci-fi news apart from that Planet of the Apes website.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on about that for
No. I mean, I'm giving Star Trek Picard season 3 another rewatch at the moment. I'm halfway through, loving it again.
How's that second time? I've not seen it second time round.
It's really good. I really like it
You
because
enjoyed
it's good. Yeah, it's worth it. I know it's only 10 episodes, but God, I really love that series. I'm sorry. I mean, I know the rest of it has a lot of issues, but oh my God, season 3 was just so good. Best stuff I've seen. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jay at Sidetrack. He was saying, and he, like I said, sometimes with his sources they're reliable, sometimes they're not. But from what he's saying, and again, it's not confirmed, that he's hearing from the people, the powers that be, that Legacy will go ahead. It's going to be a joint production between Amazon and Paramount Plus, because this has been the issue with the money kind of thing. And then this will be the back door towards a Picard TV movie. Now, like I said, this all sounds very positive, but, again, sometimes you hear things, it doesn't work out. Apparently Terry Matalas also is in the middle of other projects now, so it's possible that he might not be co-writing it or running
okay.
It,
time to get worried.
Yeah.
Time to get worried.
Yeah, exactly.
It's now time to shit ourselves.
Yeah, because basically we're gonna have Terry Matalas after, I don't know. Like I said, it's all early days, and it's a shame.
Well, we live in hope, don't we? We live in hope.
But we've got Discovery coming up next couple of months.
April.
And apparently what they did was at the end of it, they didn't right. I thought they were like doing a whole episode at the end because they finished it. Apparently it's just like a vignette. It's like a segment at the end where they sort of like go off into the sunset or something. It's, I don't know. I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna try and be positive.
That'd be great. I mean, I'd like to say it goes off into the sunset and she gets
she'll probably start crying though.
Well, it just never comes back. It's something that
maybe it just does that spinning thing and it goes, and it just appears into a temporal warp or something.
Yeah, they've gone somewhere else. Yes.
Such a strange series.
I don't really care what happens to this. I will watch it, but I don't care.
No, it's a shame. Anyway.
Unless we get a banging series and it's superb, and I'm shouting at you, going, "Why didn't they do the last series?"
You might do. You did that with Picard.
I did. I did, and I admit that.
Stranger things have happened.
Yes. Never seen Stranger Things. Never seen.
I'd seen the first season of that, and I liked it, but I got out watching it. Because I like the 80s.
Why did you get out watching it?
I don't know. Sometimes I watch a series, I like it, and then something else I'm focusing on, and it just gets. It's worth
I won't bother with it then.
No. I think it's worth it.
Because we like similar stuff, really.
I think it's good. From what I saw of it, but I've got so many things I'm watching. I've got a lot of obviously work and family commitments. It's hard for me to sit around and watch a whole season of something. I don't do it very much.
How many seasons is it? Is it about 3 seasons?
I think they've done 4, and they're in I think they've done 4. Might have done 5. I know that I think they're still making at least. I mean, I don't know.
No, they're still making it.
I think they're making another season now. Actually,
Okay.
I wanted to
Right.
give while I remember, I almost forgot. Actually, I'm glad I remembered. Last week you talked about us reviewing an Ant and Deck movie.
I was joking. I saw the comment. I saw the comment on your podcast. I will not be reviewing it. I saw the comments.
No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, mate. I can't review those.
No, I don't. I don't. Like, I
But
go by democracy.
I
If,
did
if
no,
the
no, no,
fan,
no. I did a
drum
poll.
roll, drum roll,
Drum roll. Okay, it should be going now, but I might forget it. It said my podcast co-host wants us to review the film Alien Autopsy starring Ant and Deck. I can't stand them. Please can you help decide for me if I should or not review this film? And the option one was yes, the film is worth a watch and Ant and Deck are not that bad, or no, don't watch these Muppets, watch Wet Paint Dry instead. And we had 51 votes, and the result was 71% said no, don't watch these Muppets, watch Wet Paint Dry instead. So I'm sorry, Mr. Fowler, but Ant and Deck
fair enough.
are going to disappear.
I said I would go with the democratic vote, and
Thank you.
You've got away with this.
Good.
You sneaked and snided your way out.
Thank you,
of this
all the
one.
subscribers. Thank you, everybody who did it. There we go. They're all there, and that's what you did.
Yeah. Well, we'll find another one.
And I did a really good gif of that guy who he was playing Bunny on Extras, and I was watching an episode of Brooks.
Yeah.
And look at that gif I made. It was really cool. I really made that.
Cool. That's cool. So you've done well. You've done well. I'm proud of you. A democratic vote. I thought they would make you suffer and watch it, but no.
Did I hold this for the whole
I'm
rest
not
of the show?
looking. I refuse to look at that gif. I refuse. You've done very well. You snided and sneaked your way out of that one by using the democratic vote.
Democracy. That's what I love about it.
I agree. That's what I said. And I'm going to say, as of now, I will not mention Ant and Deck ever again.
Oh, well, there we go. You made my day. On that note, let's go to our review of the week. Because
Yes.
Scott's going to be running out. Or Zoom will run out soon. Here we go.
It's the
Solar Sci-fi.
focus of the week.
All right, so this is a film. This is a Disney Star Wars film, which of course a lot of people will turn their nose up at straight away because, as you say, a lot of people are not fans of it at all. But I've seen this film many times, and it was the second Disney production film after what's the first sequel film called? The first one of it. The not Final Duty. What was it? The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens.
Yeah, well, that.
Which a lot of people consider to be the strongest of the sequels, although it was a rewrite of A New Hope. This came after. It was set right between episodes 3 and 4 of the original Star Wars Skywalker era movies, although it's not right in between. It was literally it ended up about 10 minutes before the beginning of A New Hope. And that was, of course, Rogue One, which I think came out about 2016. And, of course, recently it's had its own prequel series. And we've only got 10 minutes on Zoom, so we've got 10 minutes to discuss this before we conks out. So, Martin, what did you think of Rogue One?
Best Star Wars sequel, prequel, whatever I've ever seen.
So, do you actually prefer...
If they could have made the films at that level, Star Wars would have done very well. But the film was marvellous. It blew me away. I saw it twice.
I did too.
I loved it.
I came out the cinema and I was blown away. I was just like, you know, when you see something when you come out of a movie and you're almost like spinning around in the daze.
Yeah.
It was that good. I just couldn't believe how good it was.
The character investment was superb. The writing, the cinematography on Scarif was just beautiful. A brilliant film all round. And when Vader turned up and that lightsaber went in that corridor, it was just beautiful. I was watching Star Wars. And the power of the Death Star, it wasn't even at full power. This thing was just
single reaction.
Yeah, it was just an awesome, incredible film. And Life Under the Empire, we started to see it as well, which was good.
Yeah.
All the characters, loved them all.
Yeah, me too.
Even like that is, what did they call him? The creepy guy who were trying to take charge of the project. Him in the white the Imperial uniform. The
Imperial officer. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, I forgot his name. I liked him.
Galen.
I thought he was very good.
Yeah, and he was, of course, the dad of what's the name? He was of Jin Ezra's character, wasn't it? Is it Jin?
No, I'm on about the Imperial officer in the white suit. He turned up on the planet with the Death Troopers looking for her father.
Oh, sorry. I know what you mean. Yeah,
and Vader chokes him.
Orson Krennic.
When Vader says, "You need to temper your ambitions."
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, superb character.
Yeah, I, it's funny actually because I'm hoping that some of these characters are going to be seen in the Andor prequel series season 2, which is literally being made now. And I hope some of the actors will come back, but we're not going to go on about that so much because we've already reviewed that. We were not exactly a big fan of that. So I think really, Star Wars is a strange thing because I think this is why Andor for me so far has not worked. That Star Wars, I think, for it to be successful, has got to be quite fast-paced. It's got to be very, very. It's got to have the musical score. It's got to have the visuals, and it's got to be throwing things at you all the time. And this is one of the differences between Star Wars and Star Trek. And this is interesting because, a lot of people don't like both. I do like both. You like both.
I do. Yeah.
And they're very different entities or beasts, whatever you want to call them. But a lot of people say, "Oh, I love Star Trek. I can't stand Star Wars," and vice versa. My family is a prime example. My son loves Star Wars, can't stand Star Trek. My wife and daughter, they love Star Trek, they don't like Star Wars. And I always think that's interesting that you get people who don't like both, because I don't know. I know that Star Wars is more fantasy, but it just pulls me in. It really always has done. Ever since those original movies, what was a negative about Star Wars when I was growing up, that even by the late 80s, early 90s, there was already a ton of Star Trek to watch. You had the original movies, and you had the original series,
Next Generation, and the original.
And all you had back then was just 3 movies. Now,
but I found with the original 3 movies that first come out, I found Rogue One just slotted in there in the 3 of them amazingly.
Yeah,
it just fitted in beautifully.
I also it worked because my favourite Star Wars movie, and it's not one of the highest ones for a lot of people, is The Rise of the Sith, Revenge of the Sith.
I like that.
Episode 3 was another one that came out. I went to see that the day after I got married, and we went to see it, and I was blown away by that. I remember it 2005. I had the same thing with Rogue One. Same thing.
I liked Solo. A lot of people didn't like it. I never thought Solo.
Solo. I didn't
got a
chance. No. I don't know why.
Click all on Solo?
I don't mind it, but I don't know, something about it was missing. Something didn't quite work for me. I don't know what it was. I didn't mind the acting playing Solo.
I know what. I can sort of. I know where you're coming from there. It was like, where does this fit in with all this? It's a bit of an odd one, isn't it?
Yeah, it was an odd one. And
I found the character development in that film, I found interesting. You was invested in the characters. But I found that film after the second Star Wars, the new one that came out. I forgot what rate.
Which one?
The second one that came out.
Oh, The Last Jedi.
Yeah, when that bombed, that carried over to Solo and affected its performance.
I think so. And it was only 6 months after as well. It was quite close. It was released after the Last Jedi.
Yeah. And I know where you're coming from when you say, well, where it is an odd film. It is an odd film, and where does it sort of like, it's trying to fit it in somewhere. I know it does fit in, but there was something odd. It just didn't seem right somehow, did it? A bit?
Yeah. I don't know. It is
I
weird.
know where you're coming from with that. I did feel that, but I always thought because of that second Star Wars film, it damaged it. And maybe it got released too quick as well. Maybe should have waited a bit longer.
I agree. I think
know.
I think releasing a Star Wars movie 6 months, and that's the closest any Star Wars movie has ever been released in respect of a previous Sar Wars film. So
well, that's when they had a plan of releasing 2 a year, didn't they? That was the plan, wasn't it?
It went a bit. They got a bit too overexcited with when Disney got it. They released the Force Awakens, which went down well. Then they released Rogue One, which also went down very well. I know that. I remember it did. And then The Last Jedi happened. I actually what we'll do is we'll stop a minute for Zoom and we'll come back because I can't wrap this up in 2 minutes. We've got more to talk about in this. If that's okay with you, sorry, Martin. It's just the Zoom limitation. Is it okay if we come back in 10 minutes to re-record the last bit?
I'm gonna have a word with my lawyer. I'll be back in a minute.
What's the lawyer got to do? What your lawyer going to sue? What, Zoom are they or what? Or is it that I'm not talking fast enough?
Well, I will get my people to speak to your people. Okay.
Okay. All right. That sounds ominous. It sounds like
Yeah, I'll see you in a few minutes. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to come back in a couple of minutes. All right.
Yeah.
We'll see you in a minute.
Look, we could stop if you want to stop. We could stop.
No.
No.
What we'll do is we'll just. Sorry, because obviously this is being recorded. We'll come back in a second and carry on this conversation because I can't finish this off in 2 minutes. So we'll be back in a minute, people. All right, so we're back. Sorry about that. The usual Zoom hassles that we get now. We never used to get this. We used to be able to talk, but that's sort of changed now. So we have to sort of put a pause. Where were we at? We were just talking generally about the movie and aspects of what you liked about it. So I suppose really we should really ask. I mean. This really did seem to fit very well into the Skywalker saga, I think. Although it had, I mean, one thing which it did have, and obviously this is a film which features a lot of spoilers, that just about every character in this movie dies, which is quite a sort of downbeat thing. I mean, how did you find that? Do you think it made it more significant that most of the characters were killed off for the greater good?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I think that was the investment. I mean, I think that's why, you've had more faith in Andor series than me. I think that's why I couldn't fully invest in the series because I knew what happens to him.
See, this is an interesting thing.
I never found him the great. Even in Rogue One, I never found him the great rebel leader. The focus was more on her being that person than him. I didn't find him. And I know it's about Jyn Erso and her family and how she's brought into this rebel alliance, but I didn't see him. I saw him as one of the crew, a big part of the crew, one of the characters. But I never saw him as how they're trying to recreate him in Andor, this potential great rebel leader. I didn't really find that with him,
So, without being too critical, do you think it was partly just the actor was not particularly strong, or do you think it was the characterization, or what? Because there is something lacking. I can see that there is something that's not.
Yeah, it's like in Rogue One. Rogue One's like. You've got 5 or 6 badasses that all get brought together to do this mission and stuff. And the act on Scarif unifies the Rebel Alliance for the first major attack.
Yeah.
Because they've got to do something. You've got no choice. They're forced into it, but they initiate that. But I found she was the one who was the inspiration to create that moment. I found him. He was an interesting character, but he's like, if you've got a crew of 5 or 6, he's just one of the standard characters on the ship. Do you know what I mean? He has his talents, and that was it. He had his place in Andor the series. I never really, his character never hit it off with me. It was in that his Stellan Skarsgård character, who's the one that wants to ease more.
I know the guy.
I get him being the rebel Force by him and Mon Mothma bringing it together. I never
Yeah.
found out Andor inspirational. I
No.
like the character, but
Yeah.
I didn't find him inspirational. But she was inspirational. The two guys, him at worship, the Jedi, the blind guy, and him with the
it's,
big the laser Gatling gun. I found they were inspirational. Do you know what I mean?
I really like. I think another thing which for me made this film work was, as you say, it was very much an ensemble thing with some great good characters, some great bad characters.
Precisely, yeah.
And I can never pronounce his name. Is it Shinrut Inui, the guy that was blind? I'm one with the Force. Now I really. And I tell you, I just get goosebumps. That scene where he's dying and it's like his was he in a relationship with the other guy, or were they just?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really
I'm actually not taking the piss.
No, I don't know. They were. I think
they were very close,
combat.
weren't they? But I don't know whether they were like. You know what I mean?
There were two very close friends who died for each other, but I found that inspirational.
Yeah, I did too. They really worked together. They were so there for each other, and then
the investment.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I think, like I said,
because when they died, I was upset.
I was really bothered about that. I really was. I mean, it was. All the characters get. I mean, my God, I've never known a film where so many bloody people die. And everybody dies just to get the Death Star plans to Leia at the end of the movie, and it links up with the original A New Hope, which it does very well.
It were like they were the Magnificent Seven, right? Yeah. And there's just simplify it. Each one had a special skill, and they brought it to the table, and they managed to bring enough to get onto that planet and damage that installation. But the cost was going to be high. And I kept thinking, now, where for Andor, where it paid off, I did like his relationship with her, but I found him very second to her. She was the leader. She was the one that was inspirational.
Well, it wasn't a romantic relationship. It was just
but when they held each other at the end,
yeah,
I found that quite touching. But none of them survived.
Yeah,
none of them.
That's such a strange film, and
it is. Yeah.
Going back to Andor, I think this is the problem. You know that they're all going to die, and you know how it's all going to go. Yeah. So, what exactly are we getting from the series Andor in respect of getting more knowledge of? Yeah. We know what happened before Andor. We know what's going to happen after Andor. We know directly what's going to happen to the characters in Andor. So, and you've got Cyril with his blue milk living with his mum.
Oh, don't start me on
that. Right? No.
Do not start me
I know, but I
just
happened to mention it, right? So it does strike me as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Point. It doesn't. You know, it's kind of like I don't see.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I agree. I don't. I know you've watched Andor. Okay.
It's better on a rewatch. It's better on a rewatch.
Yeah. But I just found it wasn't how it's portrayed and what it's. I find maybe it's the actor. I don't know. I find he's got no charisma. He could be somebody. If you put him in a film with like some big grade actors, he'd be like one of the lower tier characters within the film who you can rely on, like Mission Impossible. He'd be one of the team, and he'd be good at computer or something, but he'd follow the main character. He'd be one of them. Do you know what I mean? And he even in Rogue One, he works in that, but I didn't see. He wasn't an impressive character for me. It was all about her because she brought them together. She forced the Rebel Alliance. They had to act because if this thing were operational, you've got to act. And I liked that about her. And I did like the ending with them both when that explosion.
It was very sad
because in that ending, I worked because I went with some of my mates and we were sitting there. They were like really into it and. When that explosion, like that energy wave were coming, I kept thinking that ship was going to come in with the robot on board.
Oh yeah, they get rescued.
Save them.
Yeah.
Just at that moment, and it never happened, did it? I thought they're dead.
But doesn't that make the whole film more poignant that they all died, right? Or do you think it would be better if they had survived? I mean, I think it's
Yes.
I don't know. I would have liked one or two of the characters to have survived. I don't know how, but I suppose that they can't because they're worried about it clashing with what happened afterwards. That's why they killed everybody else.
Yeah, because them characters would have been around during the original movies.
Yeah, and we
in
would
the
have seen them
background
and like, well,
somewhere.
what they're doing, kind of thing. How come I'm not getting involved with this mission
Yeah.
when we're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we were going after
I
second
think-
Death Star or something. You know what I mean?
That's why I don't think Andor works. I think Andor with another character I think Andor should have been done about a guy who was probably a stormtrooper, massacred, it sickened him. He got out at Stormtrooper Corps, went and did a run, ended up messing up with rebels and villains, and then becomes a rebel leader. And it would have been better or his family were killed, he was a citizen and he wants revenge, and he joins the Rebel Alliance and becomes a great hero within the Alliance. I think that's how Andor should have been done. I found his character, I'm sorry, very secondary.
I was going to say,
That's me.
Yeah, but isn't this indicative of prequels in general? I mean, the thing is now, you know, Star Trek as well, they're talking about more prequels, at the beginning of the first mission of the Enterprise and all this sort of stuff. And Star Wars is having, like, we've had the Obi-Wan series, which I actually enjoyed, but again...
I love Obi-Wan.
Right?
I do not have a problem
No,
with
I don't.
Obi-Wan.
But what I'm saying is that there is partly a problem, even though they still vary in quality. And Obi-Wan, I still like that, even though a lot of people don't. Of all these shows sort of like dovetailing into all the movies and all the other things, and it's all
into
kind of
the
like
franchise,
it's like a Tetris board coming down, and it's all slotting into place into what's
into
been
a
in the
big
cut. And it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's just a franchise fatigue, or is that just that I've watched so many... What is it?
I think with a sequel, you can do a sequel. You get the freedom to do what you want.
Which is what goes back to Picard.
A sequel.
Season 3 was so good. That's why that was.
Well,
so good.
it's like you say, like you've done the first film. It's a film. It's a masterpiece, and then you make a sequel about this character, and so you stick to the canon at first movie, expand it into second, but put in a new villain, a new story, but continue something, and then. Prequels are very hard to work out because it's like, oh, we've got this heroic character.
You can't do that. And
let's go back into his teenage years and how he joins the secret organization.
Which is sort of like Andor does in many ways. So he's not a
teenager,
but he's younger.
I think if you're going to write a prequel, you've got to be bloody clever.
But not necessarily, because look at the Star Wars sequels, how they're reviled by a lot of people. They can't stand them.
And nobody likes them when they come out.
They had the freedom to go off there. They weren't tied with all these prequels. They had the first order and everything.
But the thing is, when them prequels came out, I remember back in '90s. Oh, they killed Star Wars. It was shit, and loads of people said that. And then 25, 30 years later,
people really like them now.
Oh, you don't say that about Revenge of the Revenge of the Sith and all that, you know.
Attack of the Clones, you know, it's weird.
It's amazing. And Attack of the Clones, I was bored shitless when I was in cinema. I was bored shitless with Attack of the Clones. But I thought Revenge of the Sith was a masterpiece.
Oh, I love Revenge of the Sith. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
The first one was a Disney movie for me. It was a kid's thing. But it was a nice way to start it all. But the Attack of the Clones bored shitless. And I still won't watch it now because I was so bored.
I don't think it's that bad. I think it's alright. I think it's got some interesting things in there. I liked seeing Jango Fett. And obviously young Boba Fett. I thought that was interesting.
Well, Jango didn't last, did he?
Well, no, he got his head cut, didn't he? That's right.
Yeah, he did.
But I don't know. I mean, like I said, Star Wars is such a big thing, and
it is. But I think with certain things, I think prequels can stuff it up as well.
Yeah, so it's weird, isn't it? I mean, I suppose.
I mean, let's go into DC. Like, how many fucking Batman origin remake movies have we had?
I've never been a Batman fan. I've never been his Batman. No, you're right. There's so many versions of it, though.
That's what I mean. Kids out with parents. Your new director. Oh yeah, we're gonna get Batman. I'm just using this as an analogy. We're going to get Batman, but we're going to do his early years. So again, we're all sat there. He's out with his mum and dad having an ice cream. Guy turns up, kills them both. Ends up making him with a load of mental health problems. 20 years later, he's running around in latex and spandex, beating everybody up. And meeting other people that are just as insane as him, and that's it. And then we get 3 of them movies about this journey, and then 5 years later, I know. Why don't we do Batman again? But we'll take it in this direction.
Yes, and this time he's got I don't know, he's got a splinter up his arse or something.
He's got a splinter up his ass. Yeah. So when his parents got killed, he ended up running and he fell on a fence and he got a splinter. And all his life, he grew up, he wore leather and rubber, and he went out
and also
with a splinter.
He liked a bit of bondage.
Beating people.
Batman bondage or something.
And then again, 5 years after that, I know. Let's do a Batman movie, but this time
he's got an evil brother or something.
We'll give him Robin.
Oh
God! The clone.
Oh, oh my God!
Do you know what I mean? I'm using. It's like how many. That's why superhero fatigue has kicked in. I mean, it's like Superman.
It's really. No,
that's Superman. How many versions have we had? How many versions of... Oh, I know. We'll see Krypton explode, and he comes to Earth and gets picked on at school, but he's different. But then he becomes Superman. And then, and 5 years later, let's do 3 more movies of Superman, but let's do it differently. He comes from Krypton, and it's the same thing. All right, they did make it a bit, but it's the same thing redone over and over again. I'm just using that. Rogue One was not like that. Rogue One was a unique.
We are going off topic, but you're right. Let's go back into Rogue One. It was, for me, it was a prequel, but it was just done very. It
was a successful prequel. Yeah, well,
and the CGI, Peter Cushing. Now, a lot of people were freaked out with that. When we first, I was quite surprised actually when I saw it, because you could tell it isn't Peter Cushing. You could tell it looks like a bit like Grand Moff Tarkin, but with a hardened face. It wasn't like, if you look at A New Hope Tarkin and you see Rogue One Tarkin, they look quite different, although physically there is a parallel. And how did you feel about that? Because that was one of the first. It wasn't the first films, but it was an early example of a CGI character based on a real actor.
When I saw it, I found it. I didn't mind it. I just found it a bit weird.
It did look.
Do you know what I mean? There was something. As a human being, we have senses, don't we?
You could just.
So, and I was looking at it like there was something a bit off with it. You know, like, do you know, like. But when you look at some of these, like what they did with Indiana Jones in that Dial of Destiny thing,
or Luke Skywalker.
That was superb. That was, and Luke Skywalker. That was very good.
Yeah,
but that was the first time they tried that, though, wasn't it? That was one of the first times.
The Peter Cushing one with the actor who, I forgot his name, but he's been in extras. Apparently that's different. Whereas the one they did with Luke Skywalker with Grogu on Book of Boba Fett, that's this deep fake thing. It's called deep fake. You must have heard of it.
I have.
They did it differently from Luke Skywalker's brief appearance at the end of The Mandalorian season 2. It was much better than his first appearance.
Yeah, well.
And it's it's interesting how a lot of all these aspects of this fakery, and like now Darth Vader's voice in Kenobi, it wasn't James Earl Jones, it was an AI.
No,
and it sounded better because if you hear James Earl Jones' voice in Rogue One, it could tell it's slightly off. His voice is slightly.
Yeah, he was in like 80s. He was in his 80s when he did that.
Yeah, but that was the last time he officially did his voice of his own means, rather than having it artificially done. And it was okay. I mean, it was only. But it's interesting how this film is another example of how actors now and in the future. This is what all these strikes were about in the States a little bit. It was to do with the fact that an actor's representation could be literally copied in the future unless they had.
Well, that's fair enough. If it's your image, you've got every right to protect it.
Sort of like someone's dead.
I died, totally.
And so they've had to do this. I mean, this goes back to the AI. Yeah. How AI is becoming a factor in a lot of issues in our lives, with education, entertainment. And how we've got to steer in a new direction to make sure that we do things in a sensible way, even including actors' voices and actors' faces.
Yeah.
Appearing in these big
Yeah.
blockbuster movies.
I think.
With their permission.
I think. You see, I think Star Wars. I think when they start going into past and prequels and all this, it's they have to be careful because there's such canon now. They've got to fix it into canon properly. It's all got to connect, and sometimes
it's hard to put it together.
It's not easy. That's why we're using the Batman Superman thing. It's let's go at this a different way. But I found now with Ahsoka that they could possibly open a new door to something much bigger and new. And I'm hoping
you mean like
that's
a multiverse,
the path.
like a multiverse or something? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, no, the other galaxy and what's there, and the interesting Balon, the Jedi Sith in the middle type dude, and I found that very interesting, and I thought to myself, this could go somewhere new, because you can't just have Sith and Jedi fighting it out with each other in every film and every TV. We've got rid of them, now they're coming back. You've got, at some stage you have to move beyond that, and I'm hoping.
So, are you thinking that Star Wars, in essence, with what they've now produced, it's got a limited capacity? I mean, Star Trek, I think, has shown how, because of the nature of exploration and everything that's been...
That goes on forever.
What I'm saying is that what I'm wondering is whether Star Wars has so much of a limited lifespan in these franchises, it compared to the Star Trek, which has had like 8, 9, 10 series and 13 movies, and it's just going on and on and on.
Oh, no.
Whether Star Wars is like how many Jedi, how many Sith, how many good, how many Republic, Old Republic. Is there a finite aspect?
Well, it's. I mean, you make a fantastic point, and I totally get what you're saying and agree with you. But it's like with Rogue One, it's sort of that slotted in nicely, but it's been since then. Star Wars has been very up and down, but it's the same concept all the time. Right, we get the Mandalorian, we get characters in that universe, we can explore their part of the universe.
Crossover.
That's good.
Like that, yeah.
I don't mind that, but in the main canon, it's. You see, they wanted to do the Old Republic, go back.
That's what they want to do, yeah.
That opened you don't have to connect that to modern stuff. You can start and do anything you want because it's set 50,000 years before or whatever. That's good. I always thought they should have gone there. But then again, it's the same thing, the rise of the Sith, the rise of the Jedi.
It's the same principle, it's just a different era.
All the time, yeah.
So I'm just wondering, actually, I hadn't really thought about it until we started talking today, but I actually think in many ways there's only so much they can do.
That's what I mean. So, but when you and I watched Ahsoka, and we were fans of Ahsoka, when they went to that other galaxy and that planet, and we saw the statues, and
the witches,
I found that they could open the door to something much newer to Star Wars. Like, add something greater to it, something different. Because the Balin guy, he wasn't either evil or good. He was something was still exploring, and I like that. Yeah. And that puts a whole new doorway on Star Wars. But again, if it's going to be just that we've eradicated them, there's been 50 years of peace, but no, they've risen again.
I've got the feeling that, I mean, obviously the actor who played Balin has passed away, but I know that they've greenlit season 2 of Ahsoka. So they're going to have to find a way. I don't think they're going to deep fake him. I think they'll have to have something where he physically looks different because of some interaction with the witches and their magical spheres or whatever it is. Science fiction is a great way of always making excuses for things like an actor's left or something like that. But I have to say that out of all the aspects of, I know we're talking. Well, no, we are talking.
We're just going on about the old franchise around Rogue One.
So it's Rogue One, but this is part of it. So I do think that elements of Ahsoka, and don't forget, we are in the period in between the original movies and the sequels, where there's a big gap there. where they can do some interesting things. It's a bit like Picard again, where it's after the Next Generation, DS9 Voyager, but it's way before Discovery, and Discovery, who gives a shit about that? You could say the same about, this era now. We're in between Return of the Jedi and the first of the sequels, but there's a great big gap there. We don't know what's been going on there. That's interesting. And I think that's both those eras in those two respective franchises, they've got some interesting elements they can do. But I just think generally when we say let's just have some random show, let's set it 100 years before the Phantom Menace, and it's going to be featuring Sith. I don't know. And there's only so many times you can have a Sith fighting a Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, they can go into like a 6-year story arc, they can create amazing characters.
Yeah, I know.
And you're going to go along, but at the end of it, it's still going to be the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, there's only so many times that they can do it.
Whereas
Star
like...
Trek, they can do anything.
Well, that's it. Star Trek gets retired tomorrow. It comes back 10 years down the line. New crew, new ship, new stories.
New baddie,
We're
new
exploring the universe and go anywhere we want and do what we want.
We've now got a quantum slipstream dingleback drive, and we can go to galaxy hopping. We can explore a whole new...
That's what I mean. So every week you can write a new moralistic story or some new situation.
Yeah. In many ways, long term, Star Trek has a much stronger ability of doing stuff and actually retaining interest. Right? Whereas, Star Wars though, they can always really start to go away from the generic Force.
We'll take it. I mean, where do you take it after the Sith and Jedi thing?
I don't know.
In the expanded universe, I only read some of it, but when they later on they moved away from that.
I would tell you what I'd like.
And they brought in this rate. There were about 30 books. It was a big thing. I read one or two of them, but they brought. There was a race from another galaxy. It came into their galaxy to invade them, and the Force to them were a different concept.
Yeah.
Didn't really. They're called the Yuzon Vong. You've probably seen videos on them. But they came from another galaxy, and they invaded the Star Wars galaxy. And there were a big war. And they took it in a certain... Now that where they opened it up from, like, there's something from outside coming in, that worked. But if it's going, like, with Jedi and Sith over and over with different incarnations of it all, and some... how far do you go with it? I mean, where...
I'll tell you what I'd like. I'd like the idea of the Force becoming like a representative of a disease, where if you use the Force, it can literally really be bad for you, the people around you, and it's like some sort of contaminant in the Force. And so Jedi and Sith, because they're so symbiotic with the Force, they've now got a problem because they can't use the natural aspects of the Force in what they do. And if they do, there's some consequence which would like destroy them.
And then
something, I know that's more of a Star Trek-y thing, but
I love that. I love that.
Something like that, where it's completely against the philosophy. They can't use it. If they do,
they die.
Yeah,
or they get pain.
Or people in their relative, or people who got their Force who were metachlorians.
But
I don't know, something like that.
But the twist is that it's like evolution or something. Something new comes out where there's like a new
byproduct, or a new byproduct.
Yeah, like an evolved Jedi. It's in between good and evil. Something new. They're the only ones that can use it.
Yeah, where they're right down the middle. So because they're in the middle and they're not on each side, they've got kind of some sort of. Yeah. I know we're talking about. I love these ideas.
No, I can honestly. I love the concepts, and it's like the universe has now decided that we don't want these. We're going to create something new.
You can't go to extremes. The only ones to survive are the ones right down the middle who are not good. They're not bad.
Something new.
They're a control element. They're like the something in the middle.
And they make the Sith and Jedi totally redundant. A new order of something comes in.
And all those. And what if they all died? And all you had was a new, like, Jif or something which is like not a Sith, not a Jedi, something in between. And
the one of the thing of the Grey Jedi, it was sort of in the middle. There was something, wasn't there? And I know we haven't seen it, but that Balin, I mean, he could be there. He's
like that. Balon's
That's what I mean. Something
he's
new.
more dark, but he's not quite proper Sith, is he? He's
Yeah. It's just it's evolution. The universe has had enough
I
of
just
these
think
two.
they need to do something. They need to turn it on its head. I think.
Yeah.
But
That's
listen,
what I think they should do. Yeah.
let's finish off reviewing this film. I mean, haven't got much more to say about it. It was an excellent film. I am interested to see how the prequel TV show, which got one more season left, ties into it.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, I suppose, is it time to give it a ranking or rating out of 10?
I'm because I'm in such a good mood today. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9 too. I tend to agree with you, but yeah, I'll give it a 9. 9.2. I'm gonna give it slightly higher.
Interesting conversation.
It's good. It's a good film. I mean, we are going to do. I mean, we've still never done a Star Trek movie yet. I'm actually going to do one with Jay. We're reviewing Star Trek 3. We're going to quickly do it tomorrow night live on my channel, and we'll have to do the Star Trek movies at some point as well. But you know, like I said. But yeah, great conversation about this. It's a great movie. Again, what we do in this show, we tend to. We don't do things in order. We'll do one movie and do something else to eventually come back. You know, like we've only ever done the first 2 Terminator films. This is only the second Star Wars movie we've done. You know, but yeah, this is one of the ones which is, I think my favourite Star Wars movie actually is Revenge of the Sith, and this possibly could be the second one. I think it's that high. It's very, very high. Although. All right, Martin. Anything else before we wrap up?
No, that's it. I will see you next week. Same time, same place, same universe, and same galaxy.
Brilliant. And I think we'll definitely try and do Pacific Rim, and then I will do my homework for the Planet of the Apes TV show, and we'll give that a review in the next few weeks. So I'm going to end with something I just found while I was waiting on Zoom, and that is Rogue One, the animated musical. Do you want to see that? Silence. You know me and my bloody musicals. I just feature on this chat.
Yes, I will suffer and endure it.
Well, I'm sure you will. And thank you very much, Martin. And we will see you next week on the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast.
Live long and prosper. Yeah.
Cheers.
And that put me in the worst mood. I watched my mama get shot and I cried. Daddy got kidnapped, so I'll fight. I got rescued by this rebel guy. Papa left a message, I understand. He made a fly in his Death Star plan. Turn the city Jeddah into sand. Against evil we must make a stand. We snuck in the Scarab base, wearing a black mask on my face. Covered by Tudor base. Rebels fight Imperials in space.
What's your sign?
What's a motherfucking call sign?
What's your sign?
I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. Why put a bag on my head? I can't fucking see. I broke my back climbing a hard drive ladder. It broke my heart that Jen wasn't feeling sadder.
Yo, spin-off fool. I'm the legendary Vader. The one slicing and dicing with a fucking lightsaber. Destroy the Death Star. Is that some kind of joke? I'll retrieve the plans, then in the tub I'll soak.
We left a dead stormtrooper pile. Shield went down, so we sent the file. Limb to the beach, held hands a while. Then we got nuked while we shed a smile.